Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Zoom Test Kitchen. I'm Jeff Widgren, and we meet here every Friday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern to talk about everything Zoom, and not just talk, but actually work. It's a live workshop where we can dig in and test and get the results and talk about them and so forth. So it's not just a discussion, but a deep hands-on. I'll even give people the host control or co-host or whatnot, and get your hands all over it. So we've got a few in here already, and got a few more coming, but certainly glad to be here each Friday, as many Fridays as I can make it, and appreciate those who stand in for me when I can't. So share it with your friends and those who use Zoom and Zoom Webinar, and invite them out every Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. So for those of you who are here, I don't have anybody on camera at the moment, but if you want to fire up your cameras and say hi, that would be great. And we're going to get things kicked off. Hello, Anissa, Joe.
Howdy, hey.
Very good. Anything new with you guys? Hey, Kenneth. Any new findings? Any new challenges?
I was just having a time with reports, but I figured something out with a coworker today, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, share with us. What were your objectives initially, and what did you finally get figured out?
Well, we were just trying to locate meeting settings for registrants, and I'm an admin for a university with 17,000 accounts, and the reporting doesn't show the same for admins the way it does for regular users, and the regular users way was a lot faster. So we had to do some finagling to figure out where it was in the admin setup, but it's all good.
Gotcha. Yeah, reporting, it took me quite some time before I really started kind of digging in and having a need and all that. I have access to the dashboard as well, which is more of the live view, how many people are currently active versus, you can see everybody who's logged in each time as well, but and a lot of details, network details, CPU, memory, video, whether they're connected to wireless or not, and so it can be super useful. But it's a high level access too, for a dashboard. Although I feel like the dashboard could be really useful for like a tech support person on the team on big enough meetings and so forth, so that they could provide support along the way, but you have to grant them quite a bit of access to be able to access that as well. Hello, Ken, how are you?
Hello. Hi, everybody. Doing good?
Yeah, good to see you. Well, very good. I just wanted to review anything that you want to dig into, Ken or Joe or Anissa, those that I see anyways. Any particular features or whatnot that you'd like to dig into and figure out a little bit more today? No?
Yeah,
Joe?
yeah. It's still, as many times as we've discussed this and practiced it, I'm still unsure when I'm sharing a video through share screen into a Zoom webinar. Is turn on optimized for video a good thing or a bad thing?
I would back up and say these days I would never share a video via share screen.
Okay.
I would say if you have to or choose to, then I would say optimize, but I would go to the advanced tab and use the advanced share feature of share video, and at that point, going that route provides not only good resolution, but also a good frame rate of about 25 frames per second as well, which share screen, we seldom ever see that. This account it's an enterprise account, so I've had a little bit of a hard time showing you one way and it's bad and the other way it's good, but we can certainly give it a whirl as well. So I'll just take my favorite video of my son a couple years ago. He was auditioning for the college jazz band, School of Music, and I'm gonna go full screen in VLC, and then I'll share that screen and play it. So I'll go share the screen 1, and Joe, I'll share it. I'll share the sound, but I'm going to and I'll put it in stereo, but I won't optimize it for video. Now, preemptive to this, you guys should click on the green shield on the top left corner of your Zoom window. And when you click on that green shield, then click on the gear on that pop-up window's top right corner, and then ultimately go to screen sharing tab across the top, overall audio, video, and screen sharing. That will show us the statistics, the resolution and the frames per second. So I've got that up. I'll be looking at my send column. You'll be looking at your receive column. And here we go. I'll tell it to share. And I'll hit play.
Jeff.
So
Yeah, before you go further, do you have a video handy with a little bit more motion in it?
yeah. Let's see what we can find here. Maybe make sure I don't get in trouble for showing something I can't and or copyright, since we're streaming as well. Bear with me.
Are we streaming?
Are we streaming? Let's see, now that you ask. Yeah. Yep. Oh, let's see. Joe, do you have something with kind of copyright safe but more motion?
I do, except I'm on my cell phone, so it's not a good idea for me to push video.
Yeah.
Does somebody else have something?
Let me if somebody else has it.
Just me swinging cameras around, doing a little camera talk.
As long as there's more motion to it. I mean, we had some motion of the fingers of the guy playing the sax, but
Yeah.
it's really not enough to. I can see it's a little choppy, but I want to see what the full motion looks like, how choppy it gets.
Let me see. I've got a background graphic. It's a swoosh, but there's a lot of change in pictures, or pixels, I should say. It's not your movie, but those are the ones that will get us in trouble anyway. So let's give this a shot. This will give us enough motion for sure to see if it's smooth or not on the video share. It doesn't have sound, so I'll share this non-optimized, and we'll go from there. Go full screen. Okay. And on my stats, it looks like I'm the send videos 2560 by 1440, and it looks like the frame rate is about 16, 17 frames a second. Now, not too bad on the frame rate. I mean, it certainly could be better, and with full motion, I wouldn't desire anything less than, 24, 25, and I think we can achieve that. But the resolution, you go, wow, that's great, and that really has nothing to do. I mean, you can get that screen share resolution out of a free account and a pro account, and it's based on, that's the resolution of my monitor, and that is solely because it's not optimized. When it becomes optimized, it'll knock it down to 720, and there's a benefit to that. You go, well, I'd like a higher resolution. The fact is when you're recording in Zoom, which I can see I didn't turn the Zoom recorder. I don't use them very often, but I want to go and turn that back on just in case. But when you're recording in Zoom, it, and it's all video, gallery, active speaker, and so forth, it's going to record that final product at that maximum resolution, and that is based on your account's capability or your license capability, right? Say that's 720, or this is a 1080 account. I would expect a 1080 video recording at the end. Although my recording at the end of this meeting now will actually all be 1440. Because I shared non-optimized on a 2K monitor. And so at the end of the meeting, when it says, okay, converting, and we sit there and wait, it then evaluates the whole recording for that maximum resolution, and then has to upscale everything to that if there's a difference between the two. And so that can actually be a downside as far as, file size. It can really kind of cremate your video quality, if you will, having to upscale everything as well. So at this point, let me share this again. And this time I will, in fact, optimize for video clip. And we'll look at those stats. Okay, so now the resolution is at 720. Frame rate looks like we're getting maybe 2 to 3 frames a second better. I'm at 17 right now. I saw 18 at one point, but Anissa says 16 to 19. Yeah. So yeah, we didn't quite even get to the 20 mark, but a small improvement on an optimized share screen. Now, let me kill that. And now I'm going to share my Zoom screen so you can see what I'm pulling up. And so I'm going to share the Advanced tab, the video share. And I'll click on share. Now, see where it naturally, by default, selects optimize for video clip and share sound. You have some options there, mono or stereo there as well. So I'll click on share. A plugin's required to share a video file. What is that? Why did that pop up? I mean, maybe way back when, or maybe they're just changing the way they've layered their code, and there's that quick requirement. Interesting. Wasn't expecting it. All right, so that looks like it. Let me clean up the stream there. Let's see. Is it sharing anything on your side? What's it sharing?
It's sharing.
Oh, my screen. My screen. Okay. Yeah. So that. Oh, I see. Did it go back to my you were looking at my gallery?
Yes.
Okay, so I was ready to do the video file, and it did that plug in. All right, so now I'll do share. I killed all that. Sorry about that. Let me go back to where I was. All right, back to my Zoom screen. So share under advanced video. It check marks the optimization and sound. I click on share. It then pops up a file selection, so there's nothing immediate about it. Let's see if I go, I think I found that file. Documents. Not documents. Videos. Burst. And now I'm going to click open. And when I do, it's going to pop up a floating window of a video player on my side. It'll give you a full-size black screen because it won't autoplay the video, but I'll fairly quickly hit the space bar key. You can point and click and hit the play key. It's just slower than hitting the space bar key. And so I'll click open and space bar, and you should be seeing that share now. Now, what do you see statistically in your share? I'm going to have to keep banging because this doesn't have a loop mode.
Yeah, 28.
28.
28.
Visually, does it appear smoother on the motion, or just you see statistically it is improved?
Oh, it's improved. Yeah, definitely obvious improvement over the 15 frames per second. With optimize turned on and screen shared with optimize on, there was an improvement over not optimized. And this one, it's really hard to state the difference between the two without a different video. I'm gonna try all this stuff when I get home.
Yeah.
Myself and see what works with my system.
Yeah, so 28 got from Anissa and Joe, and so a pretty vast difference as far as the ability to share. I'd say it takes a little getting used to, in the sense of being prompted for the file finder. So there's some definite prep that needs to be done there. So if you have to share videos via Zoom versus a virtual camera through OBS or vMix, then just practice up and prepare your file system. If I were to I'll share my screen again. If I were to know that I had to do this and I was going to end up on this file pop-up, one of the things that I would have done prior to hosting this meeting is in Windows anyways, I would have put it under quick access so that I can quickly and easily find the videos, right? And so there's less delay obtaining the video file. Then the next piece is when you select the video, when you click open, my left thumb is on the space bar right now, so I can click open and hit the space bar. And to you, it should appear that was just an autoplay. It was pretty quick and so forth. But if you're not ready to get that play button started with either the space bar or a mouse click, you'll have a pause.
What's the flow coming back out of the video back to your?
So on my side of things, I just have a floating video player. I can move it anywhere I want on my 3 monitors. I can size it any size I want. It makes no difference to your end experience. And when I'm finished with that video, if I know I'm going to another one, while that one is playing, I'll be clicking on the share button. I'll go find that next file. I'll select it, but not click open. And as soon as that first video is finished, I'll click open, space bar with my thumb again, and it will play the next one immediately as well. But if you know that at the end of that video you're finished and you want to kill that share, all you have to do is close the video player. You don't have to stop share or anything like that.
So my workflow is going to be sharing the screen, sharing the video, coming back to sharing the screen. So it's essentially the same what you just said.
Yeah. I think, I've worked with a lot of folks who feel like they're committed to having to stop a share to start a new share, and that's just wrong. You want things to be smoother than that, and so you want to be able to, you want to know that you can, while a share is going, you can pop up share again, select what you're going to share, and when you're ready for it, just switch to it, and it'll pretty smoothly as Zoom can do it. When you go from video to video, it's actually really smooth, but when you go from desktop to a different type of share, you'll get more of a cut versus if I did video to video, I think you'll actually see a small fade between the two if I do it quick enough, but from share to share, I don't think it puts that fade in there.
Well, I got enough information to practice this all myself. See how it works. I like the workflow better. It's something I really need to be able to do. So I'll get it figured out.
Now, and is this just because I know you're a vMix guy and so forth, but you just have certain gigs where you want to just keep it and limited to inside Zoom only?
No, essentially it's a recurring show that I do where it's mostly just talking heads that I'm switching in vMix and pumping out into Zoom via the share screen. But occasionally in that I want to play a video, and it's a video that we're producing for them at an extra cost, so I want to make sure it's going to play right.
So why not just drop it in vMix and hit play though, and cut to that?
But I lost you a little bit there. Yeah, it's in vMix. It's playing in vMix to my full screen, and I'm sharing the full screen into Zoom. Is there a better way to do that?
Yeah. So you're feeding a vMix video feed into the Zoom meeting, right?
Yeah.
Not that you probably. You may not have to be on camera because maybe you're the host and the moderator, right? But what I will normally do is I'll preload my vMix with the videos that I know are going to be played,
right.
And I'm not an active participant, right? I'm just behind the scenes, and so my video feed is normally just maybe a picture of the customer's logo or a title slide to the event or whatnot. But when it's video time, then I add one more step, and that is I queue it up in vMix, and I cut to the video in vMix while I spotlight my video square, if you will, in Zoom. I just spotlight it and it becomes full screen.
All right. So maybe I need to rethink my workflow. Now this is a Zoom webinar in which I'm the only presenter.
Yep.
And I've been doing it via share screen. Should I do it through virtual camera instead?
I think the big benefit to doing it through a virtual camera is you don't end up with that video, that committed video on the right side, that side-by-side look. You don't have to be committed to that, and you just get to go truly full screen when it's a virtual camera.
All right. So
anybody else have any other thoughts or practices on that?
Yeah. So the folks watching, if I'm pumping it in through virtual camera rather than share screen, are going to see that full screen, and I don't have to worry about my
your video.
Yeah,
your camera.
My thumbnail.
Yeah, even if it's just a graphic, right? They'll still see that graphic, and so you complement it with a title slide or whatnot. But at the same time, you just want to be full screen without having to have any other spotlights on the side of it.
All right.
I'll just say that I never share screen in Zoom anymore. Okay. Everything I run through my production software, it's just one less thing to manage and deal with.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Very good. Well, thanks, Joe. That's good exercise for sure. Yeah, and everybody has their own workflows, and they, it's not that they're right or wrong. At times, it can be a little more clumsy than not, or whatnot, but it really depends on what tools one has and what they're afforded and so forth. So, and it's good to know all the options, because there's times where I've been hired to moderate and run a meeting behind the scenes, but I have to do it on their account. And there's times where I'm not allowed to go behind the scenes in the portal to make sure all the settings in the portal are set appropriately. And so if they're not set appropriately, then I've got to have some options.
Well, that brings me to another point, because I'm using the client's webinar. I don't have a webinar account, so testing this is I'm going to see if I can get access to their webinar account to do some testing. Try that.
Yeah. I mean, the test on their webinar account would be the most realistic.
Right.
If you want to test it just for like visual results and so forth, just ping me and I'll get you. Get you on a webinar, no problem.
I might very well do that. I appreciate the offer.
Welcome to do that. We've got a couple more. Kuhn, how are you? I caught him chewing. It's like a good waiter that comes by and asks you how everything is when your mouth's full. But and Lois is here as well. Welcome.
Got stuck in that waiting room for about 8 minutes.
Yeah, I apologize.
I'll keep an eye on it.
I've been so spoiled, and Ray pinged me earlier and said he wasn't going to be able to make it today. So yeah, let me.
My fault. I had his attention.
There you go.
Okay, I'll keep an eye on that for you.
Thank you. Very good. Our resident expert, Lois. Birding with Lois.
An expert?
Oh, man. I got I'll share. I just got the email just right before.
I know exactly what you're talking about, because I got a similar email, I think. Go ahead, bring yours up.
From Zoom?
Yes, bring yours up. What?
Yeah, did they? I wonder if it's a mistake, or
if they hand community at all.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, goodness.
I mean, not really.
Yeah, I'm kind of. I mean, I have.
As a result of my contributions, I have earned a new rank.
Yeah. Community champion customer. I think somebody must have messed up and made everybody community champions or something. It's like I haven't. I used to spend a lot of time and do a lot of contributing and so forth. So I have a lot of very earned rankings, I guess, and badges. But I haven't been there in several weeks, and I was like, how'd that happen? Now, people do continue to reply to things I've replied to weeks and weeks ago, and I imagine maybe that contributes. But yeah, that's interesting. That's really good to know. So now when they yank it from me, I won't be so offended.
What is the community points and things you were talking about?
So if you go to community.zoom.us, that's the board. That's the discussion board of everything Zoom.
We're getting
Zoom, webinar.
Fuzz, biz, is that just me? No. Not sure where it's coming from.
I heard it too.
I do hear it. Is it... all right,
It's Jeff.
Now I don't. I'm the only one unmuted, so let's go down the list real quick. Lois, unmute real quick.
It's you. I can see you fluttering in the participants list.
Can you still hear the buzz? I
Not at the
heard it when
moment,
you
no.
said it, but now I don't hear it.
There is some background. There's some background sort of fan noise from your mic, Jeff. It doesn't usually come when you're wearing your boom. But now there's some static.
Let me
static type.
I'm gained up more than normal.
Yeah, now there's some electronic dwiddling. Dwiddling? I don't know how else to say it. Dwiddling.
Did that help at all?
Yes, it did.
Completely.
Yeah.
Let me know if it's too much of a change, because I turned on a noise gate on vMix on my mic, and See if that helps, but doesn't chop me off. It'll
Well,
kind of
yell a little bit for us.
yell a little bit. It's that background noise when it's filtering it too heavy, and then I'm talking, it really messes it up. So, anyways, I think it's at a setting that has worked well in the past. All right. So that was on that question and discussion was about video sharing, which I think is a huge miss even to this day. I mean that video share came out. One, it was the biggest challenge in the world, and everybody was asking the question, how do I best share a video? How do I bet? It's like there wasn't a good way to share a video if you didn't have an Ecamm, vMix, OBS, a virtual camera. There just wasn't a good way to do it. You could do it, but you'd have disappointing results like each and every time. And so Zoom finally, gave us this advanced option to share video specifically, which is literally pointing to the video file. And what happens, I believe, is when I say share the video file, there's a version requirement, a client version requirement. Not that it matters too much today, so much time has passed. But when I do that, I believe that each one of your systems pulls that file down, um, probably not in whole, but in a streaming fashion, so that
Right.
frame
Now it's no
rate
longer clean.
can be improved and and have a much better experience. But it took a while for them to get there. But it's underrated. I kind of wish they'd take it out of the advanced tab and put it on the it says basic, but the basic tab, the first default tab when you click on share, so that you'd see it more often and you'd use it more often, and a lot of folks would have a lot better experience. So, anyways, the sharing as well, and I'm going to stay on this topic because sharing, it's a big part of Zoom, right? Especially when it's kind of. I remember when uh, Lois, her early days of joining the test kitchen, well over a year ago now, Lois, right? It's been a while. Um, there were I just remember some things. One, and probably to this day, I would guess you only have one monitor, right? You've never had, never, when I've been around, have I noticed that you've ever had more than one monitor,
Only
which throws its own challenges in being able to share because everything stacks on top of itself, and it makes it even harder to manage. The I think with slide decks, I think when you first came in, you were doing like a yoga class or something like that, or an exercise class, and but there was also some instruction. I don't know if that was the same class or not, but you were doing instruction with PowerPoint, and I think another underutilized share option, if I share my Zoom screen again, is under advanced also. But if I remember correctly, you were a heavy user of portion of screen, so that you could have, if I fired up PowerPoint, I'll bring this into the share here so I can give purpose. So fire up PowerPoint, and the reason was, I mean, a lot of people like to have the toolbar and the slides so that they can, especially when you don't have two monitors, and which means you can't have a presenter view on one screen and the presentation on the second screen, and so you kind of need to find a way. So you go portion of screen, and I'll say share, and then I can get this green border for those who haven't used portion of screen, and I can define
Mhm.
what portion of the screen I'm showing. So I'm gonna make sure that this green border wraps just the slide portion. Now I can still see the entire PowerPoint um, application, if you will, and I can just click from one slide to the next, and your share is pretty clean. Now, there's some caveats to it. You don't get to animate, right? You don't get that animation and so forth. But sometimes the animation doesn't go so well anyways because
Why
it,
would you lose animation?
well, because you're only clicking from slide to slide.
Well, you can just show you can show the slideshow and then just capture wherever it is.
Well,
I
you
mean,
can,
if you don't,
yeah,
if you don't
you can
want to
do
do
that.
click by click.
You don't, if you go into slideshow mode, you can go into the windowed version of it, which I think is what you're speaking to, but you lose the application. So my first example was you get the whole PowerPoint app with the slides going down the left side, and I'm only sharing the large version of it. In your case, you said, "No, I want to be in presentation mode with animation." Then you would go and you would start your PowerPoint in a windowed mode versus full screen mode, and then you would do that portion of screen around that windowed mode, even if it's a really small window. And I mean, I think it's a super valid point actually. Let me fire that back up.
That's what I do with the exercise thing. I have this little tiny window that I put the box around and it comes out really big on everybody's screen.
Yeah.
The quality I'm not worried about. She's just jumping around. And as long as you can see her, that's all you need. You don't need like fine little details.
One of the things that I think a lot of users don't know about is the behavior that we experience when a host or co-host or someone goes into screen share mode. For example, I'm in this meeting now on 2 different clients, and on one of them, my main client, I have it set up so that it never takes over my screen. On the other one, I hadn't had that set up. You need to go into settings and change it to, same. I forget what the exact language is. Let me pull it up here. You go into settings, excuse me, and you go into share screen. Right, you've got at the top here, window size when screen sharing. So, what I always wanted to just maintain the current size. I never wanted to take over my whole screen. It does that often. So if you if you make sure you turn off full screen mode, when you're screen sharing, it won't take over your display. And as a user, you can do the same thing.
Yep. And then there's a second layer to that when it comes to like a slide deck. And it won't impact your whole screen because you've told Zoom that, but then you go to PowerPoint and
Right.
if you're in full screen mode, it's still going to go full screen and share it unless you make the changes there as well. And so if I share my Zoom window so I can show you where I'm going here is in PowerPoint. If you go to the slideshow tab and go to setup slideshow, can you see this? And it's probably kind of small. Blow that up a little bit. So the setup slideshow there, you can see where it says the show type presented by speaker, which is full screen, or browsed by an individual, which you can put it in windowed mode. And that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put it in windowed mode, click OK. And now when I'm going to go ahead and shrink the window down, but start the presentation. And you can see it stayed in the same sized window that PowerPoint was just in momentarily ago there. And now that can just be, in kind of a top right corner of your monitor. And if I click on share advanced portion of screen and click share, now you can't see this green box I'm going to position around this. But once you position this, and this is prep, once you position this pre-show, it'll remember the position. So when you pull it up, when you share a portion of screen next time, it'll be in the same spot. Well, if you put the PowerPoint window in the same location, it'll just be there. And so now that I've got it positioned and wrapped around the right spot, it you even though it's a pretty small window in on my screen, you can go ahead and do that. Now I have my controls to go forward and back. Now these aren't animated, but if they were, like Lois's point that got us here in the first place, it would animate in the whole bit.
One of the problems, though, Jeff, is that if you make your presenter window smaller or too small, it actually lowers the quality of the screen share in Zoom. So that's why what I've opted to do is I've got a 4K monitor, and that is dedicated to Keynote. So I just I do the window, but I full screen the window. So it doesn't take over all my monitors, but I let it take over that one monitor so that I'm getting the highest quality of screen share into Zoom.
Yeah. So it's a great point because I mean, really kind of back to our initial example when we did a share screen non-optimized, it shared at a video resolution of 2K, which is exactly what my monitors are. Now, my monitor helps a little bit with your description of what you just said, but a 4K really makes it very real because kind of like having four, 1080 monitors in front of you, right on one big screen. And so it helps a whole lot more. I will, now this is only if it's Windows. So this is kind of a Windows only example that I'll show, but I'm going to share my screen again. And I'll just, if I were to practice that, you can like I've built a wallpaper, and this wallpaper, this lighter gray box, that's 1080 by design, and so I know my monitors are 2K. I built that, so that's a 1080 box. So if I drew that, well, even better than that, if you're on a Windows machine, they have Microsoft Power Toys, and it's a whole bunch of just super cool utilities that are built in. Like on a Mac, you have the what do they call that search? The command space bar, Spotlight. I can get it in Windows as well, but only because of Power Toys, not because it's built into Windows. But the other thing they also have called fancy zones, and you can define zone layouts. Like if you wanted three apps side by side evenly, you could just draw that in fancy zones. Now you can just drop, and it'll size each thing that you drop into it right to it. So if I were to be bringing this PowerPoint window over this, preparing for that portion of screen on a 4K, I just hold my shift key down. And while I do that, it highlights that fancy zone, and I just let go, and it snaps it right to it. And so now it's a perfect, 1080 output or whatnot. Now that is fully supportive, even sharing a portion of screen, like you said, David, fully supported to the license of Zoom, which is up to 1080. And so now that's a great point and example on top of it.
While Jeff is looking for something, David, your mouth moves and then we hear things. It's very strange.
Yeah, there's a delay thing going on. The with the Rodecaster Pro 2, there's we need an update because there's a delay thing.
Is that a USB mic?
Oh, the Rodecaster Pro 2 is the new interface that they put out.
Oh, gotcha.
And it's great. I love it, but there are some hiccups. And of course, being a stupid early adopter.
The pain. All right. The other thing about sharing that I don't think a lot of people take enough advantage of is multi-sharing, and that is, fully prepping for a meeting that you're going to be, technically moderating. I would, and the run a show, if you will, and you've got to share this and then share that and then share that. And let's say there are 3 different apps, or you have a video player that will launch multiple instances on your desktop. So when you open the second video, it puts it in its own VLC player and its own VLC player. And so now you have essentially 3 VLC players open. So I'll sample that, and I'll open a text editor. And vmix, and then YouTube. So there's, all right. So now you have to deal with me prepping for the show, but I'm going to go to the Zoom Test Facebook page there. I've got a text editor open with just one line of text there, and then I've got vmix. Okay, so I'm going to share, and now I'm going to, let me share my screen first so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to pull up the share, and instead of sharing any screen, you're going to share apps. And so I'm going to share vmix. Somebody's unmuted. David. So I'm going to share vmix, TextPad, and the Zoom Test Kitchen Facebook page. And I control clicked on each one of those so that I can multi-select like the file system, right? And then I'm going to click share. And when I do that, then if everything's been prepped and so forth, you're good to go. But it then becomes, so you can see the share of vmix right now. On my desktop, on my monitor 1, I have vmix as a portion of the screen. And on monitor 2, I have this text editor as a portion of the screen. It's even smaller than that 1080 box we looked at a moment ago. On my third monitor, I have the Facebook page for Zoom Test Kitchen, and it's actually a full screen browser. I can go from vmix and tell you, and then if you visit the Zoom Test Kitchen page and to changing that, whoops, see if I can set focus on this.
Exactly how are you switching from one to the other?
Yeah, is it switching? That's my question.
Looks the same here.
Yeah, it hasn't changed on your side yet, right? This is interesting because it's not doing it. Now, oh, it's treating it like a screen share.
Now we've got something.
That is interesting. I wonder what we drag to desktop 1 to share. But I didn't share desktop 1. That's wild. I'm going to try that one more time. The text pad there. Didn't realize that this might be a limitation. Share, and you see vmix. Yeah, it's forcing me to a single desktop. Didn't realize that was a have to. Okay.
Single
so I'm going to
monitor.
drag I'm going to drag all 3 apps that I shared to the one monitor, and I'm going to full screen the Facebook page. I'll full screen the TechPad, and I don't actually have to full screen, but here, and the other one was vmix.
But just as you were moving things around, we got that little static coming back again.
Oh, really?
It's gone again, but yeah.
I was multi-clicking my mouse. I wonder if that found its way through the gate. All right, so now, I just identified something fresh. I don't know if it used to do that or not, but I have, although you just see vmix as my share, I actually have 3 applications shared right now. And what's interesting is when I do a multi-application share, it's actually translating it to a screen share. And in this case, it's screen sharing off my screen number one. And so all I have to do in Windows or a Mac is I can Alt Tab and go to the next application. And that instantly changes my share, Alt Tab to my next application, and that changes my share again. And so the ability to, if you will, be preloaded with multiple shares. And, because it's multiple skill sets, right? It's understanding that Zoom can do multiple application shares. I mean, most people, the only kind of share they've ever done is just shared the screen. And that in itself, sometimes it's just not necessary. Sometimes it can get you in trouble. Sometimes you expose, information or data that you don't want to. Just a number of things. But then it's a transition. It's like, okay, Zoom, share, 3 items. And then it's a transition to being a shortcut person of, like Alt Tab or Command Tab in your operating system to be able to switch between those applications quickly and easily as well. So I think that's a little bit underutilized. Sometimes it's applicable and can be leveraged, sometimes not necessary.
Hey,
Well,
Jeff, when you're doing that and you're switching from application to application, would it work the same if you hadn't tried and gone to multiple screens and got them all back, if you just done the Command Tab?
You're saying
Does it know what it's looking for, even if you've got it on a different screen? How smart is Zoom?
Yeah. So when I first did it and I had one app on each monitor and I shared, each one of those apps, when I Alt tabbed to app 2, it prompted me on my monitor 2 to move that app to monitor 1. And that's like, I don't know if that's new
So
or I just never caught it before, but it does know that I'm trying to share it, but it also knows, apparently because I multi-shared, it locked us down to one monitor. Therefore, you need to have those apps on one monitor. And
But
that-
Zoom
that
knew
is
it
what
existed, so it could give you that prompt.
Yep, that it did. That it
Uh,
did. But
two-
it does end up being a screen share, which is interesting to me because I didn't want to expose my whole desktop,
Mhm.
but it did.
Two questions. One is, in this instance, if you had not shared multiple apps and you had just shared your desktop, then you could still use your Command Tab to switch between apps, or Alt Tab in your case, to switch between apps. So if you have them preset so that they're large, that should work, shouldn't it?
If you just do a screen share, absolutely, and then because essentially that is what's happening is you're just switching between apps at an operating system level, and so I'm a little confused on why. I truly feel like the benefit of multi-application sharing just went by the wayside because I'll make sure all these apps are still on the same vMix, that, and the text editor. Yeah, so all 3 apps are on my monitor 1, and now which they weren't before, and now I'm going to say, okay, share text pad, also share the Facebook page, and share vMix. And I'm going to click on share, and it's sharing my whole desktop. The video thumbnails are minimized. Popped up a message there. I need to see what that said.
So when you do the Alt Tab, would we see that, or do you not see instructions on your share?
No, you would, in this case, I'm confident you would see that. So if I go here, I go share, and it says, the video thumbnails are minimized to optimize full screen video clip screen sharing. But I didn't pick full screen video sharing. That's what's strange. Because you can see my vMix, but you can see the rest of my desktop right now.
And can you Alt Tab?
Oh, no, you can't. No, you can't. Hang on. if I shrunk this browser window behind vMix, now you only see vMix. Okay. So it's taking the maximum. I got you. And now there's like the browser's behind it. It's a little bit bigger and off to the left side than vMix, but if I tuck it back behind vMix, so okay. So I would tweak my workflow on this one. It still has to be on one monitor, but what it does is it makes it a portion, an automated border snapping portion of screen share. And if my 3 applications were like cascaded, the border would be cascaded, wrapping the borders of all 3 apps because they're all slightly exposed. And but if I were to snap with Power Toys all 3 of these apps into my fancy zones there, and they'd all be the same size at that point, there and there. Now it's a full screen, what appears to be a full screen share to you, but it's just part of my monitor. But now if I were to alt tab between them, it does a clean. Now, do you see? And so you see there's a
Gray
screen in between, but I think if I do it fast enough, you won't even see the gray screen. You'll just see the share app change. So the gray showed up only because I'm sitting there waiting and I'm looking at my alt tab pop-up window. And so, but if I do it quick enough, then you don't see that. It's just from one app to the other instantly. So that was a good find there.
Are you using the command to get to the other application, or are you clicking on it? Because we're not seeing any of your selection.
Yeah, yeah, you don't see the, so yeah, like you said, on the Mac, the command tab on my PC, it's alt tab. I do get the pop-up, but like I said, if I alt tab quick,
we don't see it.
You don't see it. If I alt tab and wait a second, then you get that big full screen gray until I select the app and release my keyboard.
But we still don't see your commands.
You don't.
Whereas if I was sharing my full screen and we're doing it that way, then you might see my commands. I don't know.
No, you would. And so you can see my mouse. I don't know, it doesn't show up very nice.
You can see your mouse, yeah.
Yeah. And but if I go, I'm going to go off the right edge of this text editor. Now I'm on my desktop. I can see it on the rest of my desktop, but you don't see it at all. That was an initial captured mouse pointer that is not actually really there. That's a leftover. But so I still have access to the rest of my desktop and icons and start menu, and I can do all that. And you can see the gray box pops up when I do the start menu, but I just avoid hitting the real estate that's being shared, I'm good. If I click on the open app icons across the bottom instead of the alt tab, that works too. If I just click vMix, you'll see it'll go to vMix. If I go back to the browser, it goes back to the browser. And that's a super clean way to go between them as well.
Cool.
All right. Yeah.
I have a question when we're done with this.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So I would like to test, and I'm sure that you all know the answer, but I'd still like to test it. When my microphone is picking up sound from the computer into a Zoom meeting. Now, I know that whatever comes out of the Zoom meeting is reduced, removed, whatever, when I speak. I understand that part. When I play something on the computer, I'm not sharing screen, I'm just, the computer's making noise. Now, I have 3 possibilities. One is, as it stands right now, can you hear it? 2 is, if I changed it from cardioid to circular, could you hear it? And 3 is, does that share sound in Zoom actually work? So may I do that test, please? Is that okay, Jeff?
Oh, I said yeah, but I muted.
I didn't hear you
myself.
because your hands
I
up.
know.
It's okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so I'm going to play, this is a recording of Zoom Test Kitchen from a while back. So here I am, I'm talking now. I'm going to play this thing, and you're going to hear them voice as well as mine.
Case. Why?
Okay, so did you hear that?
Yeah, a little
It was
hard
pretty
to
low?
understand. Kind
Pretty
of
low? Okay.
DC
Now-
mushy.
And I'm going to switch my pattern from cardioid facing me to circular. Hopefully that will get more. Let me try it again.
Take it out.
And then I'll keep talking now.
I'm not using it for this right now. I have a.
Hear it. So how did that come out? Was that any better?
It picked up a little bit more. I mean,
It was a little louder, but still didn't sound good.
Yeah, still has a muffled sound to it.
Yeah.
What do you
And let me finish the test. And so this one is, I go to share screen. Only host can share screen. No,
Here, I'll let you share.
that's not
There you
right. I'm a co-host.
ahead.
I should be able to share. There we go. So I'm going to turn on shared sound. No, I'm going to turn on computer audio. And now if I'm on a Zoom meeting and I play something on my computer, hopefully you will hear the
Perfectly
whole
good.
thing.
But granted, it's 10 years old. It's a Sony
Tons
AX100.
better.
Okay, so was that good?
That was the best for sure.
Was
It
it-
got rid of the bassiness of the microphone,
Mhm.
has that, flexy bassy sound and brought the clarity of the man's voice out. So yeah, that was great.
Okay, so, and that doesn't interfere with anything else. If you're sharing screen, can I be still sharing sound?
It's still a share and you can't share two at the same time. So like go ahead and
Oh,
I'll share.
so I can't do that on the show because I'm not allowed to share. Okay, I'll stop my share.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was a good try.
Mhm.
Probably
What were you?
the different way to, I mean, if you're using either an interface that you can run your computer audio through in addition to your mic, or even a software solution like a loopback, and then create a virtual mic to bring into
Yeah.
Zoom. That way you get the clean audio in.
Yeah, I'm just hoping for the simplest solution. And Joe, you had something that you were going to weigh in on?
Yeah, I kind of got lost though. But what are you playing it? Video player are you using? You're using?
Oh, it's just a browser, just a window.
You got a window, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, not knowing your entire workflow and setup. Are you on Mac or PC?
I'm on Mac. I'm on single screen. I don't have anything else plugged in except my microphone. I don't even have my ears on today.
Yeah.
Real simple, basic.
Yeah, I'm just thinking out loud here. I'm just wondering if there's something equivalent to the virtual audio cable would work for you.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sure that I
that's
could do
fun.
this. There's a whole OBS audio chain thing.
Yeah, but that's more than Joe's talking about even. So there's
Lots of
there's like loop back type solutions which are really similar, but this is just like, hey, can't I just install a couple virtual cables in my computer? And the answer is yes, you can. And basically it lets you say, well, it's a virtual cable, but I want to, in this software, which is the player, I want to tell it that its speakers is this virtual cable A, and I want to tell Zoom that its microphone is virtual cable A. And so now you've just done a kind of the old operator kind of patching the panel, is this
Mhm.
direct to that, and that's what these virtual cables see. So if you looked up, literally, what are they, virtual. they
Yeah,
call
the virtual audio cable is the PC version. The Mac version, it's called something else. It begins with an S. I don't remember. Segwayne. or something.
Loopback.
Audio
Loopback, right?
Hijack does that, I think.
Loopback is what it's called.
No,
on the Mac?
Audio Hijack adds, you can add effects and you can manipulate audio, but if you want to create a virtual mic, you need Loopback, or there's also a free one called Black Hole.
Okay, And what Audio Hijack can do is it can take the audio from a source and say, merge that with the microphone and put it out to Zoom. You know, Tlaloc's got.
No, that's loopback, not Audio Hijack.
I don't have loopback, and I've done this.
So what I was talking about, Joe, is the VB audio software, and they have drivers for Windows and Mac both. And
Oh, that might be new.
I wonder if it is, because what you can get the Virtual A, Virtual B for free, I think, and then I think the additional packages.
Yeah, you get one for free. A and B is like
Yeah.
$5 or $10, and you want C and D is another $5 or $10.
Yeah. So I mean, just one would do, and those are literally kind of just like buying cables versus having to deal with a ton of software.
But I don't have anything to plug the cable into, so.
It's not physical, it's virtual.
I know, I'm going to have to learn more about that because that doesn't make sense. I'll go look it up.
We could talk offline about it if you want help walking through it.
Yeah. That's okay. I want to hear what Tlaloc has to say.
I heard you say that you're unable to share in the meeting. What meeting are you referring to?
No, it's not that I can't share in the Zoom meeting. It's that when I produce my show, they have this whole back end thing, and they've said, and no one on the panel can screen share, which is why I had to go out and learn how to use OBS so I could change my face into slides.
Okay.
And no, I don't know why.
Is that
Apparently
what they
breaks
expect?
something.
Like, do they understand the impact, and they've still decided to say no one can share in a meeting where
It's
there's
odd
things
because
to
that's
be shared? It's really
not
strange.
Yeah, I think you might want to ask about audio sharing, and just check to see if that's something that you might be able to do, because it is the simplest solution.
Okay, well, it's the 090 process that they said, okay, you can't share. So I assume I can't share, but I'll ask. Anyway, thank you. That was just an experiment I wanted to try. That was sufficient.
Yep. Who's got what next? Any other?
I just want to, Jeff, you didn't do anything intentionally, but you inspired me to jump into Companion. And so I'm now knee deep in Companion with Zoom. And I'm actually working with Andy. He's giving me the new beta build for the new Companion module next week, which I'm going to start playing with. And so really amazing stuff.
Now, do you, on the Companion site, the BitFocus site, are you familiar not just with the public download, but the small little link for beta builds as well? Is it?
Yes, but I'm just dipping my toes into the full release, so I'm not sure if I should do the beta. Should I?
Yeah. You know, I mean, since you're just getting started, I mean, yeah, you'll find things that may or may not work quite right in Zoom OSC, because they are developing it on the fly, with their and the latest build there is pretty different, but super powerful too. And so if you wanted to get the most familiar with what's about to be released and all, I'd say it's not a bad thing, but it, and if you don't have to go to production with the tool, then I'd go beta build in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Because you can always reinstall back to any other beta build. If you have real big issue, buggy issues or something, go back two builds or 4 builds or 6 builds. Or, you can always roll back to the public release as well. But if you're not, if you don't have the pressure of production and you're just getting familiar with the tool, I'd be on the beta build myself.
Yeah. Okay.
So that you can be a step ahead and ready, and you can influence their development. Like, if you ask a question that you may think is, oh, here's a dumb question for you, Andy, he may surprise you and go, God dang it, we never even thought of that, and just kind of that usability thing.
There is a big release, Zoom release coming out. It looks like on the 17th, on Sunday maybe. They've got language interpretation, a whole bunch of admin features.
So the language interpretation, I love seeing it, and that is this meeting can provide closed captioning in multiple languages, right? And so we can carry on in English, which is our primary language, and I think does it say it supports what, like 9 languages right now, I think, and that'll grow over time. But what happens is, we have to get it enabled on our end as the host, and so I'm pretty sure this will be one of those support requests. Please enable this language interpretation, and we enable it for the meeting. So we attach it to the meeting as an option that we want turned on, and then we're done. With live interpreters, language interpreters, you have people that you have to assign. They have to be in the meeting. You have to assign them to be an interpreter from this language to that language and so forth. When it comes to language interpretation, closed captioning in multiple languages, as long as we've got it enabled into the meeting that we're hosting, now it's up to the client. The client or participant clicks on, what's the button called? Interpretation. Right now, it just, that's language, it's live transcript. Right now, it's just a button for live transcript. It will soon, or if it's enabled, it'll have a up caret arrow just to the right of it that they can pop that up and select the language that they want closed captions to display in. And so it,
Another thing that jumped out to me was the live stream at 1080p.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Like when I have you guys host on my behalf and I start that stream and then leave, those are the YouTube videos that are 720. All the other ones are 1080 because they come out of vMix into YouTube. So yeah, that'll be great. That's great. So what else we got up there? Anything else catchy? Whiteboard stuff.
I just posted in the chat, your waiting room is out of date. I don't know if the chair would like to see how you do that, but that might be an interesting thing to talk about. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, Lois. Yeah, so what Lois was talking about there, waiting room being out of date is not a version thing. I've got a waiting room with a video.
It's a Jeff.
Yeah, it's a me thing. And I actually tried to, I've been doing a lot of file cleanup. Like I had a terabyte drive in my PC that was almost full. And it was just full of all these Zoom recordings and vMix recordings and all kinds of stuff. And I've just been cleaning house. And I tried to open the Premiere project that I made that video in the waiting room with, and I hosed it up. So I have to go find the file so I can edit it or make it again or whatnot. I really hope I didn't lose it all because I did some animation on the ZTK for Zoom Test Kitchen to the beat of the music and the whole bit, and that would be, not impossible, but a little bit painful to have to go redo that by hand again. But anyways, so yeah, I almost got it. Updated today.
I continue to be astonished at how many people will come into a meeting with me and be like, how did you do that video?
Oh,
it's amazing. I mean, we really live in a bubble. We forget, that all these things that we're engaged with, the normal human beings just don't use them at all.
It's so very true. I mean, I guess with what we with what we do the opportunity we have, with, office hours and Zoom Test Kitchen and so forth, we have compelling reasons to, ask questions we weren't thinking of, or, I mean, I want to be inspired with questions to get answers to things I didn't know outside of production, if at all possible. Otherwise, right, you can have some tough experiences if you don't. But it's so true. We live it, and I love it. I love digging in, and it's not one of those things. I mean, rarely do I feel at a lack of things to talk about or share or demo or dig in the kitchen, because Zoom development schedule is just amazing. I mean, there's just always something fresh, and some exciting stuff that way, and it really makes a difference. How many shows or events or whatnot do you host in a week's time, David? I know you've got your own, and
Do I host? Not all that many. Most of what I do is consulting work, all in Zoom. But yeah, shows that I host, not that many. I wish I did more. I have to tell you, there are a number of Jewish organizations, because that's the world that I'm in, that are having these concerts or these programs, and they're just done really poorly. And I actually reached out to one of the organizations. And I said, "Do me a favor next time. Just I'll do it for free. Just please let me help you here, because we can be doing so much better." Again, it's that bubble thing. I don't think that people appreciate how good this can be,
yeah, no,
and
it's
because
true.
of that, they don't take it seriously, and it's just so.
It is very true. Yeah, just having the right person behind the controls. That's it. Just one person. They're never on camera. They're just behind the scenes. I mean, this it's not every Saturday, but one or two Saturdays a month for this UK based author, and she's big. The first time I ever hosted a Zoom meeting that had 950 people in it, and it just blew me away. But and the other thing is probably 60% of them have their cameras on. It was unbelievable. I'm like, holy moly! I just clicking page after page after page after page, and cameras just continue to be on. I'm like, people. I mean, they're fans and they're customers and things like that. But then I got some screenshots the other day, um, because now that I'm hosting this, she knows that we can, right? Whatever that means. Like, there's not a whole lot she can't ask for, and she doesn't ask for bundles, but likes to take a break and stretch, and so it's a closed Zoom meeting, and so we can play Beatles music, which is kind of their theme, and so we'll play a upbeat Beatles song, and she'll just all she knows is she just calls for the break and get up and dance and put it in gallery view, and it's crazy seeing 49 squares, page after page, of people just dancing away and having a good
And
time, and
and did
so
you
forth.
did you Jeff spend time with her specifically about her look and her audio? Because that, to me,
Every
half of the
Saturday
battle.
we meet.
Yeah, I mean, half the
We
battle is having that person behind the scenes, but the other half is
yeah,
just helping the talent look, not have the camera looking up their nose, and
yep,
all those little tiny things.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we sign on an hour early, and and we'll work for maybe it's 15 minutes, and then she disappears, and she'll come back, and I'll come back, and people are piling in and so forth. But always, I mean, she'll say, I mean, it's how are things looking, the lighting, the position, the plant that's always, she has always a vase of flowers, and whether it's too high or low or whatever. and then the audio. I haven't been able to get her to master the audio. I wish she'd, even just go purchase a Rode Go 2 and, clip on a lavalier or something. But it's not quite as present as I'd like it to be. But, she's in a quiet environment, which helps a lot. But, anyways, there's that. And then she'll send me the PowerPoint deck, and she drives her own PowerPoint, but she sends me a PowerPoint, and for backup purposes, and so that's always queued up in my space. Rarely do I ever have to end up launching it, but it's there just in case. And and then we just talk about breakout rooms, and based on whatever she's presenting on, she knows whether she wants 3 or 4 people or 5 to 6 people for a breakout room, and that's about it. That's our checklist, and then she goes and tidies herself up and play some music and open the waiting room 15 minutes prior. And yeah, it's just, and we don't not do it because we did it last time. It just, she's been really good about doing it each and every time. So it is, it's vitally important for sure. Well, this might be a record, an hour and a half Zoom test kit. Wow. I was going through those archives I was telling you about, and I've got them. I think it's got to be the longest test kitchen. The file. Well, I pop them open to see, like content wise and how many people were there. And this was, I don't remember if there. I don't think it was a special event, as far as speaker, but the video file recording was 5 hours and 20 minutes. 5 hours and 20 minutes
From a Friday?
on a Friday.
Oh my goodness.
That's like I start at 2:00. That means I didn't get done till after 7. Like, that's nuts.
That's wild. There must have been some big release or something.
Yeah, I have to go back and find it. But I mean, I could tell. I dug into that one because I'm like, that's a really big file,
Yeah.
and sure enough.
That's one thing I never do. I never save. I mean, if I just have a regular meeting or something, or even a regular program that I do, I rarely save those Zoom files.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done I mean, that's all I used to have was, cloud recordings at the beginning, or local first, and then cloud when Guy was kind enough to, sponsor in that capacity, became very little issue at all. But I would download them and then I'd post them. And then I finally because the streaming out of Zoom was horrible, no multi-spotlighting and the resolution, which is finally getting resolved. But, just a number of things didn't make it, I didn't want that to be the archive. And so I would download the cloud recording, which was a little bit better than the stream, but it's still not ideal. And then, so I do vMix recording. So I have a participant in this meeting. It's called Streamer, and it's a PC to my right, and it has 2 monitors, and chat, participants, settings, all those windows are up on the second monitor, and there's just the main screen, full screened, right? So there's no borders, no toolbar, unless I move the mouse down there. And the only thing that will show, which you can see right now, is live transcript buttons up there now, is the recording indicator. That's it. And so it makes for the cleanest stream. So I run NDI tool screen capture. So it gets out on my network. vMix picks it up on input number 1, and then I stream input number 1 out to YouTube, and its audio. And so it was the cleanest way, and I can fire it up in a matter of moments, and so I'm really used to it now. Although the streaming from here, now that Zoom's about ready to stream at 1080,
right,
and it supports multi-spotlight and so forth, I tell you, we'll have to test that in the kitchen after they do that release, and then see, does it get the captioning? Does it support, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'd have a question for, out of all the things the events team does, like that workplace transformation seminar they did this week. The floating reactions, is that Zoom webinar, and is it being streamed by Zoom webinar, or are they still having to do it? I mean, do those floating reactions stream? I mean, we know they work in Zoom, but do they actually stream also? And if they do, great. But there might be. I anticipate it's possible that it just takes time to get all those features supported to the stream as well. So I'll have to ask.
So are you streaming out your capture and using vMix to send a virtual camera back into Zoom?
Yeah, so my picture in Zoom is a virtual camera. So I've got my mirrorless in front of me that goes into my capture card in my PC to vMix. But then there's also my laptop over here, streamer, that's in the meeting as a participant, and I could take I'm already using the second monitor, but I could go out the HDMI port into the capture card of my PC as well, and there'd be a little less latent and so forth. But anyways, I just set it up on monitor 1 for the full screen, and it sends it across NDI to vMix, and so vMix has a stream definition to YouTube. But yeah, I don't ever use, like, I'm going to cut to my feed that's coming from that laptop. So this is my live feed. This is now, you're seeing that it's overlaying itself, which really messes things up. But a little bit of a delay, but not bad. But it's really, really clean. At the end of the day. Yeah. I haven't spent hardly any time dealing with like sync or things like that. I've looked back on videos and they all seem to kind of look okay. So it's a casual effort,
I found that with sync specifically, I found that it tends to float in Zoom. It'll be out and then it'll come back in, and
yeah, so I agree. Yeah, there's no rock hard settings that stick, but
yeah.
But I think there's definitely methods of implementation that work better than not, and but
yep.
So here's I haven't done this in a while. So, I mean, if you're looking at my video picture, how to your eye and so forth, how does it look in your Zoom, color wise, lighting, and I'm no lighting expert, that's for sure. But
it looks good to me.
So
crisp and bright and colorful.
I'm gonna switch to my my capture port. So this is raw camera into my PC, unfiltered. No, and it's not. I'm telling Zoom to use my capture card versus vMix, and see how much of a difference it makes. Oops, that was the wrong one.
You're bright. There's a lot more light, much brighter.
A little bit more washed out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that. So there's adjust below. Yeah, Zoom won't make anything dark. It'll make things. You can make it lighter. You can adjust for low.
You could use touch up in Zoom.
Yeah, but that doesn't adjust the lighting level, though, does it? Because I have touch up,
but there is
but it has just a little bit on the slider is all.
But isn't there a
adjust for low light?
Yeah, adjust for low light.
Yeah, so I can make it brighter,
wow. Yeah.
But that's the darkest. That's its lowest setting, which is basically the raw. Yeah, it takes it down just a notch.
Hey, Andy.
Hi, Andy.
Hey, guys. Good to see you. I got a question when you get a chance.
I forgot. I should have shared this with the bigger group. So I was focused with vMix on the streams. I used to stream to Facebook and YouTube, and so I'd have two streams going there plus my local vMix recording because I do a vMix recording of this, but what I'm recording is input one, right? Input one is my capture that's getting streamed. So I get the result. If I were just to, it's like, how do you record the whole meeting in vMix if you don't have the whole Zoom, feedback? But input one is a capture of this streamer computer, and so I've got it all there. But I was having a problem, kind of all of a sudden, a few weeks ago, with it couldn't not whether it was vMix complaining about it when I like go live and it would get one stream going, but it would try the second one and it couldn't get it going because of a hardware encoder that was missing or whatnot. What I've done is, because I got a recording going on in vMix, I have only a single stream to YouTube now. I stopped streaming to Facebook, and so there's and my card is a NVIDIA 2060 Super, and so it can do 3 streams, and so that's 2 on vMix, and then you can have. Remember, David, you may have been here when I was sharing, and anything I shared was just kind of blown out. It just blew out my shares. Like, what the heck? And so I turned off hardware encoding on video on screen shares in Zoom under the advanced video settings, or advanced share, I think. Let me double check that. Share screen, yeah, advanced of share, and it says use hardware acceleration for screen sharing, annotations, and use hardware acceleration to optimize video sharing. So I left the optimize on for video sharing, but I turned off screen share using hardware acceleration. And because I had all these different, applications, or at least these 2 different applications clamoring for my video cards encoder. But then beyond that, I read something from somewhere that talked about our browsers, and Chrome, Firefox, they use hardware acceleration as well. And so I went into the settings of Chrome and the settings of Firefox, which I don't use very often, and just did a search under the settings page for hardware. And sure enough, use hardware acceleration is on by default. And so I shut off my browser's hardware acceleration as well. Haven't felt any negative effect, but I don't have any more conflicts of when I really want to make sure, vMix is getting what it needs to, use the hardware accelerator to encode. Those conflicts are now gone. So I didn't realize browsers actually used hardware acceleration, but they were taking a slot, and so I had to kill that.
Andy,
What's
jump
new,
on in.
Andy? What's that?
I think mine's a quick question, I hope. So I'm doing a project which I can't talk about yet, but I can at least say this, which is there's a combination of, it's outdoors, combination of mics, shotgun mics, things like that, and I want to do it in stereo. But there's going to be a time where it's not just a stream. There is an interaction between some Zoom rooms, and I'd love to get the ambience of that area, so people will walk up to a mic, or they'll be mic'd. We haven't decided that yet. Most likely they'll walk up to a mic and talk to the audience, but I want the audience to also hear what's going on around them in stereo. And I'd love to not have to put headphones on anybody. So I'd love to keep it in stereo, original sound. I've never done a show with Zoom where I've left echo cancellation on. There's that checkbox when you go to original sound. And so I'm wondering about the performance of that. Have you guys ever used it in stereo and noticed there's no music. It's just going to be people talking. There might be some background music or something like that. I don't know yet, but in this area, but
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I've never tried it, and I don't have any shows coming up to test it. So wondering if anybody has run into that.
The yeah, the options there. I mean, original sound. Original sound is going to let all that room ambient noise come through. Right? I mean, that's the whole purpose is it won't filter that out.
Let me go pull it. Actually, let me just go pull that up so I know. So the check boxes are high fidelity music mode. We'll leave that on because it's better.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's echo cancellation. Then there's stereo audio.
Yep.
So I'll be checking all of them will be checked. I'm just wondering about.
Well, the only thing echo cancellation is going to do for you is when let's say I'm in one of those rooms at the microphone, will speakers be providing audio from the Zoom meeting that I'm speaking to? Because that's the only thing that gets filtered out. That's what gets mine.
Right.
So
it's the
from
return
the Zoom
audio.
meeting. Yeah. From the Zoom meeting, if you're talking to me and I'm on speakers and my microphone hears you, it does its best to echo that out and does a pretty good job.
Why don't we try this right now? It occurs to me I could do it right now. Let me do this. I'm going to turn on original sound. You guys don't have to. We'll try it without.
Let me plug in my other earbud.
Yeah, so I'm on speakers. I'm on these little tiny Gentle X in front of me. I'm on a hypercardioid mic here. This is sort of in the ballpark, although there's no background noise and all that. So just tell me what happens when I do. All right, I just turned on original sound.
So your voice is primarily left channel right now.
That's probably, I know why, because it's this Scarlett interface I'm in.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a way to. Don't worry about that. That's okay. That's easy to fix. I think it's this. I hate the way Focusrite does this. I think they don't really give you enough control over how you can route inputs. I hate that.
You have to do it. You either have to do it with a quarter-inch splitter to feed both, or do it in the software before or after it.
I guess I could use loopback or audio hijack, but for the time being, let's just leave it the way it is.
Sure.
I do actually have I could turn on. Hey, wait. Let me turn on loopback. Actually, I don't want to turn on loopback. Let's just do it this way. It's okay that I'm in the left channel, but no one's hearing echo, right?
Nope.
No one's hearing themselves back.
Check 1 2 test. Nope.
All right, I'm going to turn this up. Let's do a worst case scenario. So I'm like really loud here. Go ahead and do it again.
Check 1 2 3 test 1 2. I don't hear myself.
Nope. Didn't hear anything? Great. Good. It works.
Turn echo cancellation off and do it.
Oh, then you're going to definitely hear it. But Now, I don't know if I have to redo it here.
I don't think so.
Let's see what happens. Okay, it's off now. I might have
test
to
1 2. Test 1 2. Yeah, I can hear myself.
Okay, if you can hear yourself. All right, I'm going to turn original sound off now.
Test 1 2.
I'm so glad they did it this way, by the way, because original sound off, original sound on. Turn on. Remember they used to.
Oh, it used to be totally logically
Everybody hated
backwards.
that. I mean, I guess. Yeah, it was really more for everybody else other than production people. But
yeah.
All right. Well, good. I got that answered. It never occurred to me just to do it right now. So this is good.
Sure.
That will solve a lot of problems. So I'm very happy about that. Good.
Yeah. And so what's your suppression setting set at? Auto, low, medium, or high?
That's a good question. Let me see where it was at. Auto. It was on auto.
Oh, it's on auto. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know, how well does auto work compared to.
I mean, we didn't have any problems. I guess I'd be curious to do it manually at low, medium, and high to get a sense of where auto is going.
You want to do it now?
Sure.
Sure, while we're here. All right. I'm turning it back on. Let me do this. Okay, echo. Okay, original sound's on. Echo cancellation is checked. Oh wait, do you lose? Oh no, there it is. Okay, suppress background noise is in auto right now. I'm going to turn it on low. And if you
Now,
don't
do
hear
you
your-
have any? Do you have any fans or anything
No,
that you
it's
can?
pretty quiet in the room I'm in. There's a little bit of, there's a little bit of, like the TV is on in the other room, which I kind of left on purpose, but that's okay. Let me do this. Let me, and right now I'm listening at a very comfortable volume. I'm not cranking my speakers.
Okay.
So I could turn them up. You want me, are you hearing yourself back or no? Oh.
Check 1 2 test.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Now, well, here's the thing. Echo cancellation and suppressed background noise are two different things, correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Suppressed background is more about your fans and yard work and
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like how it opens up its gate, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or I don't know if it's doing some sort of primary source enhancement like the Neve product does, which is great. That thing works really well if it's set up correctly. I would think this wouldn't matter then.
Yeah, not on the echo cancellation. More of that that you were going for the ambient room sound.
And wait. Oh, right. And it doesn't. Well, here's the thing: is that I think suppressed background noise gets turned. I thought it got turned off.
I was just going to say the same thing because
sound.
you're going to be original sound on, which means suppression doesn't get applied.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's one of the things that gets turned off.
Yeah.
In that. Okay. Fair enough. I'm going to put this back the way it was for my desk here. Okay.
Now, there's also under advanced, there's the echo cancellation auto, echo cancellation aggressive as well. So if you run into, you're going, oh man, this worked during our test and now it's not, you could bump that up to aggressive and possibly, help resolve an issue.
Yeah, I think I'll have to do a real world test because there's going to be a bunch of background noise on on my site. So, and that's the whole idea is that the audience really does hear what's going on at this location, in stereo.
Really
so,
cool.
All right, I think that answers my question. Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, I wish I could stay on here longer, but I'm supposed to go to my pick up my wife and go to my mother-in-law's right now. So
the camera looks. Is your camera different than 8-10 months ago?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
No, well, no, probably not. Then 18 months ago? Yeah. This is a Mevo. What's it called? Mevo Start.
Mevo Start. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got a little light here. Like if I turn this, it's just a simple like. There's that. I mean, I don't know.
That makes a nice difference, though.
It's it's funny. I bought this camera. I think they're like $400, and you can stream right from the camera and do all this other stuff. It has some nice features where you can use an iPhone as a remote mic, which is kind of a neat little benefit of it and all that. I never used it this way. I've only used it as a webcam sitting at my desk. I bought it thinking, oh, those features are great. Maybe I'll use them, and then as the pandemic wore on, I'm like, you're not going to be that guy.
Can you use the iPhone as the remote mic while you're using it as a webcam?
I don't know. That's a good question. Oh, I don't know. Does the Mevo allow another camera to feed into its stream?
Are you talking about the Mevo camera iPhone mic? Is that what you're asking, David?
It's me. Well, this is a Mevo. There's two versions of the Mevo, I believe. There's the one that was a cylinder. This is one that looks like it's kind of narrower shape. Like
it looks like a capsule.
Yeah. It's nice. It's like the size of a pack of cigarettes or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's roughly that shape, except it's not squared off.
Yeah.
Is it this guy?
Yeah, it's that one. Yeah.
Okay.
And who is it? David Kaufman out of New York. He's on Office Hours. He was using it, and you can zoom in. It's nice. I can zoom in. It gives you camera controls on an iPhone that are pretty useful. I mean, I can zoom in and reframe, and I can have a bunch of different shots that are preset, you know. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Have either of you tried the OBSBot 4K? I have the original one, which I love. I mean, I don't love it. The quality is crap, but it's just such a cool little thing. You know, I can stand out. It follows me wherever I go. It's really...
Yeah, the Mevo does that too.
Yeah, it does.
I think the problem with the Mevo is that if you don't use it in its full frame, it will degrade the video a little bit. And I don't know, I've had that been said to me, I think. Right now, I think I have it zoomed in here. I'll pull up the app and if you're curious. I think it's probably one of these products that if you don't use all of its features, you're probably just better off with a good webcam because you're going to spend half the money, you know. Just get a webcam where you can do what you were just saying, something that'll follow you around, all that. I guess what's the one, the one.
And the image quality, like if you were to compare this to like a Brio, what would you say?
I'm probably the wrong, because I'm an audio guy, I'm probably the wrong guy to evaluate that. But I mean, you see it now. Let me see if it's in full frame. I don't think it is, but let me double check. How do I do this?
We
the
just got
external
one
audio
of these.
sources. It says it supports 3.5 USB-C in the Vivo.
Oh, and it does have a mic on it that
mic
will
app.
the mic, it has 3 elements, I think, that will sort of help track you a bit.
Yeah.
So
Or
it uses audio tracking.
something like that. Like it will. I don't know.
Well, I
look at the
wonder if on
features.
their
I never use it.
3-pack, like their 3-pack Mevos, if you had 3 Mevo cameras with the audio tracking, it would do auto video switching based on the strength of the audio and
Oh yeah.
on each of the cameras.
Okay, so here, yeah, I am zoomed in. If you want, I'll go full frame here in a sec. As long as it remembers.
We
this.
just got one of these as a secondary camera for like a choir cam in our sanctuary. So I'm anxious to see how it looks
the
compared
Mevo
to...
or something else.
Yeah, we got a Mevo.
Okay, so here's its. I mean, I just went wide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's wide, and the camera is arm's length in front of me. Like there's my fingers.
That's wide, yeah.
You know, the light's on. I lost my other shot though, but so the cool thing is here. Let's see. If you want, I'll try the camera tracking. I've never really messed with that. I usually turn it off. But here, let me zoom in. How do I do this? I forgot how I do this. There we go. There.
It's a nice smooth zoom that you're doing right now.
It really is. a
Oh,
smooth
actually,
zoom, yeah.
that's me just here. Wait, let me see if I can.
No, I know,
This
but
is
it's
me
nice.
panning.
Yeah. And you're
It's
just
a
doing
little
this on the
choppy.
app on your phone, right?
Yeah, this is literally
Yeah.
like there's the app.
I mean, that's nice.
Are you just doing a touch screen finger move or
Yep.
actually bouncing on arrows?
You can do so. This square here, you can either take 2 fingers and do that,
Yeah. Oh, nice.
or you just take 1 finger and move it around.
Cool.
And then it has this. You can. These are all presets, which are paying the. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't really leveraged them, but you could have different shots where you just
Yeah.
poke around.
Zoom
different
in,
shots.
zoom out, this or that.
Yeah. So let me see if I do this. Well, remember. Oh, good. It just remembered it. So I can do this here. We can just do. Here's one, and then it lost the other one. I thought, why does it do that? It's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to.
I wonder if you can instead of a cut, if you could say, you know, if there are different
Dissolve.
transitions. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it has that. You know, you're probably better off just going to find a YouTube demo of it. But
So
let me
go,
turn on the tracking and see what happens here.
on your Zoom screen, let me take remote control of your camera and see how much of that becomes available to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Look on your Zoom screen, though.
Oh, approve. I didn't know it did this. This is
So
sneaky.
it gives me left, right, up, down, and zoom.
Great.
So
Really?
I'm gonna,
Wow.
as far as a control panel, let's see
But
if
are
it
you
actually.
is that optical? Is that digital zoom in Zoom, or you're not controlling his camera?
Well, Zoom is making me think I can, but
Try it, and I'll see on my
yeah.
app if it actually changes on my app.
Yeah, I'm trying. I mean, I'm trying to go up, down, left, and right. I'm trying to zoom in.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah.
doing
See, on some cameras, it knows that it can't do certain things, and so it won't show you the control pad on Zoom.
Oh,
But this one,
there's camera assistant, which is find faces, live follow, which I'll turn on, and then they have autopilot, and you can set the autopilot speed. I'm going to turn off. Oh, I see. Live follow is looking for a face. So I'm going to put this right in the middle, and I'm going to do here. I'm going to do this. Oh, look at that. Why did it zoom all the way out? I don't like that.
Yeah, it didn't follow you. It just made
No.
the.
Oh, wait. Now it's doing it. That's kind of annoying. All right. Let's make it work faster than this. For one thing. There. So if I go, and I guess,
When you just move your head, that's interesting. When you look down,
yeah. Now I'm going to make this bigger and, okay.
it's actually tracking your eyes. Not
I just
your
made
head.
myself bigger manually, but I left the auto feature on. And now
it's going again.
Yeah. Okay. I'm assuming that there are probably some best practices in terms of setting that up. This is why I don't need it, so I don't turn it on. But look, it's that's weird. Like, I guess if I'm too fast, does it have to go wide?
Or maybe if you go out of frame.
I think if it thinks it lost you, like take your glasses off for a second and see if it can track your eyes better. Because I think when it loses you, it goes wide trying to find you.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. I don't think there's a way. Unfortunately, I wish there was a way to just turn off. Where's that feature? Oh, and by the way, interestingly enough, turn off your control of my camera, because I think
I did already.
Okay, because there's webcam. In order to stream or record, okay, cancel. It's weird. I guess webcam is live cam. Okay. The reason you might not have control is that I'm gonna guess. Let me turn this crap off here. How do I do that? There it is. Is that I'm wondering if something else has control over it or something, but I would think you'd get a message. Let me just turn that off. There is find faces, which can be independent of the live follow, but live follow has to use your face. So this is find faces.
So do this. Close the app on your mobile device and then grant me remote control and see if it is
okay, yeah, first of all, let me turn this thing off so I'm turning off all this auto find follow and all that. Okay, there we go. And let me just zoom in. Just go back to this. Get a nice, decent shot. That's in the ballpark. Great. And then let me just quit this app. Oh, I just lost it there. Come on. There is, the way that you're supposed to lock the shot in, it does lock, but it's not doing it now for some reason. Let me do this again. It's supposed to actually keep this shot. Oh, I know what I have to do. I have to do that. Okay, there it goes. And then I can just, oops, stop. Static. Oh, I see what I did. Okay. So here's this and this. There we go. This is me switching between two shots on this thing here.
Two presets.
So yeah, but let me quit this app. Okay. Let me just do this here. Got a good shot here before I leave the app. Okay. Hello. Oh, that's weird. All right. Clearly, there are more things about this device that I don't know about than I do. Okay. So let me do, come on. Just go back to here. Thank you. All right. We'll live with that. Now, can I get out? How do I get out of this thing? That's weird. All right, let me try this. Oh, I see. All right, I'm going to quit this app. All right, I just quit the app. Try and get camera control again.
Okay.
Approve. Now try and mess with it.
No.
Okay. Well, we can revisit that. I got to jump, but we can revisit that later.
Yeah, and not every camera does. I mean, most of the time Zoom does a little better job not making you think that you can when you can't.
Yeah. Great. Well, good. Yeah. Oh, we lost David.
Yeah,
but
David had.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm curious how his thing will do. Put this up a little more. There we go. Yeah, there's a little wider shot than I'd like, but it's fine for the time being.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Well, good seeing you, man.
Yeah, good seeing you. It's good to be able to jump. Every time you had these things, I was working, but now work has slowed down a little bit. So it's nice to get on board and get a question answered.
Yeah, cool stuff. Well, glad to have you. Stop by
Yeah.
anytime, and I'm here as often as I can get here as well, because things have picked up in the live world, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, anyways, be good. We'll put a close on this show, and maybe see you next Friday at 3 o'clock Eastern.
Sounds good. Take
Bye,
care.
everybody.